Let's go!
We got a little bit over like 9 hours into Avatar, maybe a little bit more. A healthy chunk, probably close to 10 hours. What else do I have to say? Avatar Fighters and this final impressions of the game. First time I've ever played it. First time playing it online. First time kind of familiar with its systems. I love it, man. I definitely feel like by the time we got to the end of this beta, and it took like several sessions, it took like 3 sessions to get there, which feels very good, kind of got an understanding of how the game is played, like what the game is played, how all these systems are going to be colliding with each other, was actively utilizing like 99% of the systems in the game in an effective way in a fighting game that is extremely fast-paced. Like, I'd argue this is maybe the fastest-paced fighting game that I have seen since maybe Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Marvel 3 is a really fast-ass game. This game is absolutely comparable. And right now, the speed that you see it played in most cases is relatively like mid-speed. But even at that mid-speed, that's still like kind of fast, right? That's still kind of fast. It's even faster than that. Faster than KOF 15. Dude, this game at full speed makes like KOF 15 feel slow. It's nuts. The problem is that not every character seems like they're either capable of doing that or can do that. But dude, if you're fighting like Aang or Korra, dude, it is actually insane how quick it is. So why do I like that, right? Why do I like that? I like the fact that the speed of the game and the return to neutral, it's a very naturally super scrambly game. And a lot of people have seen like a lot of like, you know, TOD combos and stuff like that. A lot of them aren't even real. You can tech out of them. There is big combos, but they're in the corner. So you have to be in the left or right-hand side of the stage to actually get really big combos. And for a lot of the characters, because many characters were broken in this, like some characters just had really effed up loops that cost no resources, which is messed up. And I think a lot of that stuff is going to change. I think having characters do relatively like mid-scale combos from a mid-screen distance makes a lot of sense. And having them get to the corner and then do even more stuff lines up exactly with Guilty Gear games of old, like Xrd and maybe some of the ones before. That feels cool. It feels cool to have like a fast-paced game that is actually comparable to old Guilty Gear. And it's wonderful to have a high-powered 1v1. Like, throws are also pretty good in this, but thank God we have a high-powered 1v1 fighting game again, man. It just feels so much better to get one character that's mad capable and have them execute all of this crazy stuff that they could do in a real match. And a lot of the stuff that you practice is like, oh, this is like 1 in 50 games, 1 in 20 games, every game, 1 in 100 games. There is insane stuff that you can do and practice for that is ridiculously situational, which reminds me a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well. You need to have like perfect like key gauge and your chakra, all that kind of stuff that we've been discussing. My favorite aspects of the mechanic system in the game, I think the chakra stuff is fine. I think the game's drive gauge is also fine. You're not burned out for probably long enough. I think you need to be burned out for a little bit longer. But that being said, I love this game's like high crush, low crush system. While not understanding all of it, how every part of it works, I definitely am in tune with it. And what I like about this high crush, low crush stuff is that it leaves many of the scenarios and situations not in a full controllable state. It reminds me a little bit of games that have like Just Defend or Parry or something like that, where you don't have to commit to an action. And in this game, yeah, you have these moments where not every single situation is like controllable because somebody can do a cool like low flow counter that goes over mids and highs, or a backdash that goes over lows, and then you convert that like into some crazy cool thing. That feels very good. It takes a while to get the hang of that and to understand like what the hell it is and why it's working that way. But once you get like a comprehension of it, it's like, oh no, this is neat. This is actually super cool. Now, it's mad unique in terms of like overall fighting game mechanics. There's a lot of really unique systems that are in play here, and that isn't even mentioning the characters. Body, like, with somebody that watched the first 3 books of Avatar and the first of like Korra, I'm pretty familiar with the series in general, but having like every character and their mechanics directly related to their paths and growth path in the show is mad cool, dude. Like having them have assist characters, quote unquote, they're mostly modifier characters that really change the way a character plays, and having like all of these other tools associated that give them crazy gameplay things. Like the devs studied, dude. I put the most time into Cora. Dude, Cora is 100% like her character is in the show, where she's like impatient. She wants to get in and get damage. She can cash out really big damage, but her mix is not particularly super great. And she doesn't have crazy, like, she's a bully that gets in your face and kind of is the strike throw character of the game, as I have sort of discovered it as I played really good players like devs and stuff like that. That's where she seems to be the most powerful. Yeah, and the same thing sort of applied to Sokka and stuff like that with Zuko with his redemption gauge and shit like that. It's variations from MK11 but better implemented. Oh no, it's more closer to variations from MKX. I don't feel like the variations are really overbearing. I feel like most of the characters in their normal state have a lot of capability, and these are like some modifiers, right? These are some things that you can do to change the way they play. To be real, like, I had to remind myself of the avatar state stuff that Cora was doing, because I haven't exactly found like a variation of hers that I am in love with yet, that I'm not absolutely in love with. Either way, that being said, this game did it for me, man. I know it's like a respectively, compared to most things, like a lower budget fighting game, but what we played in this alpha was very polished. The one criticism I have of a lot of people saying that it looks like a Flash game, and it's like, I hear you, I don't agree with you, but I hear you. I think one thing that can make that start to go away is that the 2D characters feel like they're fighting on a purely 2D background. What is the telltale sign of an old school Flash game, chat? The majority of them do not have parallaxing. And for those that don't know what that means, the stages in the background have layers, right? They have like 1 to 5 layers usually. And those layers will give this sense of depth when characters are jumping around and stuff like that when crowds are around them. Usually Flash games did not have a lot of that. So you kind of had a flat background and flat characters, and that makes it look kind of Flash game-ish. What I'm saying is that if they added some parallaxing and some layers to the stages, the 2D stages, that'll help a lot, dude. That will absolutely benefit the very shitty criticism that the game is getting, that it looks like a Flash game. I think it'll really help. You don't need 3D backgrounds. They just need to parallax. They need like a few layers, and they just got to parallax every once in a while when characters are jumping around. Either way, that being said, I really don't have many criticisms. I don't. I felt like some of the game needed to be slowed down when I was first playing it. I don't really feel that way anymore. I think the speed is in the game's benefit, and I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't have much. The netcode was pretty damn great as well. Feels like the experience that the publisher and some of the devs have had with previous fighting games is definitely showing here, and that there is so much in here that is already so much fun that it is crazy, man. I honestly don't have a ton of criticism. I just want to play more. The things that were obviously broken and busted is gonna get changed. The things that were clearly way too powerful and stuff like that are easily going to get adjusted, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just want to see what other characters play like. I'm curious if Amon is going to make it in some way. So the next beta, if it is to add the new characters and supports, I mean, I don't know if it will, but it would be nice. I don't even know if they're going to do another beta. I don't know when it comes out. Like, it's a next year game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just had a wonderful time. I didn't find myself doing first to 3s with people. Nah, brother. Like, almost everything I did was first to 10s. And then like an hour and a half would go by and I'm like, what? Like, what? And that's what happens when you get fighting games that are fast and you don't have to dwell on your decisions like crazy and shit. When you get a fighting game that is like really quick and it's making you make all these split-second decisions constantly and all over the place, dude, like, it feels wonderful. Like, it feels like I've been missing this shit, man.